Hello, welcome to the When I Have Spare Time podcast. My name is Frank. I'll be sitting here talking to you for a few minutes. As usual, I'm wearing clothes. I wear the same thing all the time. I have a Korean woman's face on the front of my shirt. Lee Seo from IVE. I've wanted to have sex with her for a long time. Hence, why I wear her shirt and have posters of her on my wall. But anyway, I'm thinking the same thing all of you are thinking. How come Russia hasn't dropped nukes yet? I've been thinking that for a while, just because I keep hearing all these stats about the war, because Trump is trying to you know get peace talks and all that stuff. And so when that comes up in the news, people drop stats. And, if you believe the news, I with me the news is 50-50, but supposedly over 1 million people have died because of the war. But what I don't understand is, I don't understand why Russia, the first day, just didn't drop a couple of nukes, and all the death and destruction and the money spent, whatever, would have been a fraction of what's been spent and the deaths during this war. It's been 4 years, right? It's been a long time. So it's just another example of bad leadership, and so I'm surprised no one has assassinated him yet. You think after, I don't know, the first 500,000 people that have died in this war, someone in Russia would have been like, "Hey, we got to put a stop to this." Like you've lost a big portion of your workforce. Like there's parts of Russia that don't have any men left. They're like small towns that only have like 80-year-old men left and like 12-year-old boys left. Like there's no people from the age of like 16 to 60. But I don't know. I guess he's hard to get to. I mean, like in America, if you want to assassinate someone, the government helps you. I mean, like you saw what happened last election. But anyway, our favorite LOLcow Anna has a new video. We're gonna react to it. This came out a couple weeks ago, and I thought I did something, but I guess my memory's all messed up. Like it could have been just because I've been lost playing, so many video games. Possibly, I just assumed I, watched this, and so I was going to watch. Because I watch my own videos. I was going to like watch my reaction. I'm like, oh, I don't have one. You know. Anyway, so we're gonna react to this. He moved to Atlanta for music, failed, and is now living at home. So if I remember correctly, that was the guy she was talking about who he well, I think the guy who wanted to do movies, and then he made a movie, but then was trying to sell it to a production company, but his rent was due, and so he was probably gonna have to end up moving back home. I'm sure it's the same person, but it might be a different person. But anyway, let's see what she's talking about.
Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to talk about one of my biggest pet peeves.
I'm gonna guess one of her biggest pet peeves is men that try to stuff quarters down her g-string.
Which is people asking you for advice and then not taking it, and then continually asking you for that same advice. So, as y'all know, well, or don't know, I don't know, the Lionsgate portal was last week.
What? The Lionsgate portal. Okay. So she's talking about. So she's either talking about Stargate, or isn't Lionsgate a movie studio?
It was 8/8. It was August 8th. It's supposed to be like this big time for manifestation
Oh
and you
God.
setting your intentions, and it's just supposed to be like a more powerful time. I had this friend reach back out to me, and he wanted me to do a reading for him.
What? Women and manifestation. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. This is how many times? I know I'm sitting in the dark. How many times has this person given advice, and then right after or right before she gives the advice, she says something that makes you go, I should never listen to this person. So anytime someone talks about manifestation, Lions Gates, readings, do not take their advice. And I know we've discussed this ad nauseum. We watch this so we know what not to do. But there's people out there who watch her and actually take her advice and think she knows what she's talking about. But I have to constantly remind you, she's a stripper who is estranged from her family because her family doesn't want her to be a stripper. And instead of, you know, living and I know, normal life, if you live a normal life, you're gonna be surrounded by more normal people. When you live a stripper's life, well, normal people aren't gonna want to be involved with you. So you're gonna probably have to do things the hard way, the long way, because like she's trying to be famous. But it'd be a lot easier being famous for her, if she forgot about stripping and just do like a YouTube channel, do a Twitch, try to be a influencer, do something basic like makeup tutorials, try on hauls, whatever, and that would attract at least a little bit more positivity. And then maybe someone who's watching her do whatever, a makeup tutorial, whatever, a workout thing, whatever, something she's good at, dancing supposedly. Go, oh, she looks like she would do good in, or like would be a good fit for this movie role, or she sings, or like maybe the right person hears her sing. But I'm sure a lot of people who are the right people have heard her sing, but they're like, oh, well, I don't want someone that has a stripper background.
And I've done multiple readings for him.
Don't care.
In the past, he's been in my apartment before.
That means they banged.
And I'm just so over it that I had to make
The
a
bird
video
hands.
about it.
Bird
His
hands.
friend, we're gonna call him Evan. Evan came to Atlanta roughly a year ago, and the only reason he came here was for music.
Okay, so let me correct. This isn't the same guy she was talking about last video. So the movie guy is different than this guy. Okay. And now I have to go back and see what name she called him, because it'd be funny if she called everyone Evan.
He wanted to make it big in music. He was a producer. He worked at a recording studio down in Sarasota, Florida, and then there was a second location up here. And the guy who owned it offered Evan a job up here. So Evan left the one down in Florida and moved up here. But the key part of the story, I didn't realize this until like months after I knew Evan. He was only in the one in Sarasota for a few months. And before that, he was doing electrician work. And before that, he was at Full Sail in Orlando. And he did not finish. Full Sail is 3 years. I forget the total cost of the school. I believe it's $70,000 a year, or it's $70,000 in total. I cannot remember. All I remember is not going. I got accepted as well, and I chose not to go. I went to UCF.
What? So it's like a clown college? I don't know. Like her getting accepted anywhere just totally downgrades it. But okay.
Instead, because I had the Bright Future Scholarship, which covered 75% of my tuition, and it was just cheaper, and I felt like it was just a better option to have a university behind me versus like a trade school. But he went there Only 3 years. Then he had 1 year left and he didn't finish it. Honestly, I think he has some mental issues. So I
Oh my god, coming from a stripper, that is rich. That is rich. A stripper saying someone else has mental issues. Okay.
will try to be kind. But also, it's like so frustrating. So fucking frustrating. So, Evan, I got in contact with him because he grew up with some people that I went to college with. In my freshman year, I was very close to his friends. I actually ended up not falling out, but I distanced myself from his friends just because I felt like they weren't going anywhere quickly. There was just a lot of drugs, a lot of drinking. They were smart as fuck. Like, they were funny. They were fun to be around. I just didn't feel like they had drive, and at that point in my life, I just didn't want to be around any of it. I stopped drinking when I was 20 just because I was just around so much insanity when I was very young. I wish all those people the best, but I don't want to live like that. But he grew up with those same people that I used to party with. So one of them reached out to me, told him
We should play a drinking game, and every time she does the bird hands, take a shot. I mean, we probably won't live, you know, through the whole video. We'll probably die of alcohol poisoning, but
about, and I wish him all the best. I hope he's doing good.
don't give a fuck,
He
lady.
was fucking great. I remember one time I was upset over a guy, and I was at a bar, and I was drunk, and I walked from, this was at the library lib on University, and I walked all the way from lib back to my freshman dorm, and I was so like pissed off at the guy. I don't even remember what the fuck happened. And this friend, which was his best friend, he was coked out, and he still made sure that like he walked me back to my dorm. So he reached out to me telling me about Evan moving up to Atlanta. So I was like, okay. When Evan got to Atlanta, he picked me up, but I still gave him a tour of Atlanta. We became friends pretty quick. I've been in Atlanta for 2 years. I had a very traumatic event happen roughly a year and a half ago. So I was
Her whole life is traumatic. That's all I gotta say. Just her whole life is just traumatic. We gotta refresh everyone's memory because she took down the video. The traumatic experiences. She was dating one of her clients, like one of the guys that came in to, watch her strip. They were dating. He broke up with her, and then she got mad that they broke up. So she then retroactively said every time they hooked up, it was sexual assault. That's basically the short of it.
very closed off. I did not let anybody near me, and I felt like since this was a tie to my past, that it would be trustworthy enough to have around me. And he never did anything bad. Fuck it, we're gonna get there.
When you say it like that, sounds like something bad happened.
So he came to work at the studio. He did not have an apartment. He did not have money. His loans for Full Sail were being sent to his parents, which I would find out later because I could not understand it. I could not understand why he didn't move with urgency. When I moved to Atlanta, I had 6 months where I planned to come here, where I saved, where I worked 2 jobs. I was literally going from North Italia, changing into jeans in my car, and driving to Chili's to go work another shift. Like, I was so committed to live here and it not go wrong. And I had my apartment and everything like planned out. I think I got it like 4 or 5 months in advance. Like, I planned everything to a fucking T. Things still went wrong, but I'm here and I'm doing great. And I would.
You're a stripper. You're doing horrible. She bases success, like everything with her is like money oriented, and like if you're not living your life the way she thinks it should be, it's bad. And she cares what other people thinks about her. Like all the things that aren't important, she thinks are important. So what people think about you. Now, obviously you need money to live. That makes sense, right? Like, that's basics. but how much money you make should not be what determines how good of a person you are, or if you're as a successful person, because we can get into the philosophy part of it or just the intelligence part of it. Money isn't everything. So I don't know how much money she's making, but I'd rather make half as much money working at Walmart than making twice as much or whatever and being a stripper. It's because just your overall life. Like, imagine if she lived. I haven't seen her apartment. I haven't been inside. I don't want AIDS. But imagine if she, because this is Atlanta, it's cheap. Imagine living in an apartment that's just like a studio. Whatever. It's just big enough to fit the essentials, and you got your dog, and you're paying half as much as you're paying for this, and you're just everyone in your life is just a better person because you didn't meet them from a strip club. You can do music and be in the music industry by meeting people a completely different way, and those people you meet are gonna treat you a completely different way. Like, just subconsciously, if you find out someone's a stripper, you're gonna treat them differently because that person doesn't respect himself. So, and it's mostly subconscious. You're not gonna, like, you feel like you can just get away with doing anything because, well, you're a stripper. You're dancing. You're dancing naked on strangers' laps, and they give you money for it. So that's a form of prostitution. So, do you respect prostitutes? Do you treat prostitutes the same way you treat a regular woman? I don't know. I don't.
Argue that I am successful at this point in time, because otherwise, why would you even ask me for advice? So he came here, no money, no apartment. He got like one of those, I don't know what the fuck it's called, bed, Airbnb. He was jumping around from Airbnb, and I could not understand why he just didn't have this sense of urgency. Like, he refused to get a second job. He was doing Uber for a second, but then he was saying he hated Uber because he was just stuck in the car, and he was talking about like the mental health, which I completely get, but why would you not go get another job? And he was blaming the recording studio, and he was saying that the guy that hired him, he was saying that he was going to have so many clients, that he was going to be making X amount of money a week, and he wasn't. Life sucks sometimes. Like, you have to plan for things to go wrong. So yes, your boss may have said this. That doesn't mean it's true. You should plan for it to not be true. You shouldn't even be putting the weight of that on him if you want like good shit from him.
I just can't take her seriously. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is like a this is like a middle school kid who got paid $20 for mowing the lawn, giving you financial advice and how to plan things out. I don't know. This to me feels like she's attacking him to make herself feel better about herself. That's what this feels like to me.
Him. I know that sounds bad, but that's like, if you want to work in music and any kind of entertainment, you're going to be working for fucking scraps. You should have planned for things to go wrong. So there was that. Dude was hopping around for Airbnbs for like 6 months, refused to get a job. I remember trying to set him up with like a new strip club that had opened, and then he was against doing that. Like, and he could have done security, he could have done like fucking valet, he could have done anything.
Because a regular person doesn't want to work at a strip club or around a strip club, be in that environment because it's toxic. Okay? Yes, even being the security guard at a strip club is toxic because you're interacting with people who are paying money to have a naked girl dance on their lap. I don't understand why you don't understand why this is disgusting to a large portion of the population. Think about just the average guy. The average the normal man does not go to strip clubs. The normal woman does not strive to be a stripper. And there's nothing wrong with normal, because that's kind of how society works. Everyone is kind of the same. They fit in this mold of what's accepted socially, and it varies to certain extremes. But then when you go past those extremes, the majority of people are like, "Whoa, I don't want to be involved in that." Like, most people don't want to sell crack. Most people don't want to be friends with someone that cooks crack and sells it out. Because that's just so extreme. But you'll be friends with a goth girl. You might be friends with someone that has a nose ring.
Dang, this motherfucker wouldn't work. And I couldn't understand why. I was like, why the fuck is he so comfortable staying in these ratchet ass like Airbnbs, having no money, and just thinking that like, oh my god, I'm so good, like they're gonna discover me, it's gonna be great. Like, he had such an ego about his talent. That's the thing though, I'm very talented too.
Stop lying. This is cope. I I mean, I'm extremely talented, but anyway, speaking as a musician, she's not a good singer. A non musician probably might think she's a good singer, but she's not good. So, you know, if she keeps putting out her like clips of her singing, I don't think she'll ever get like, signed to like a real label or actually make a living from singing. Now what she will get, because it's so easy to make a record label. You just need a piece of paper and make an LLC, whatever. Anyway, now I simplified that, but anyway, she can get signed to a independent label, just like something I made up or you made up. But she wouldn't make a living, and it would just be a person who signed her because he wants a stripper around, and maybe he thinks he can like get something from her. So like, she's delusional. This guy probably is a really good producer, but you're trying to do something where the market is just flooded. Everyone's a producer, so what he needs, and I don't know him, and I don't know if everything she's saying is completely true. He needs a day job, and then make a portfolio. And I know social media is a good place to do this. So you produce some music. I don't know what kind of music, but like beats, whatever, rock songs, whatever you're doing, you produce your product and you make a portfolio, and it could just be like your YouTube channel, and just put your beats up or whatever you do. Because I don't know what he does, and then that's an easier way to promote yourself. And then because there's all these rinky dink independent labels, because once again, it's very like anyone can make a record label. You just have to, it's like you're starting a business. And anyway, so it's very common. So you find one of those people, or one of those really small labels, and you show them your product. And so I don't know if he's like working for a big company, and he's just one of the producers that is gonna get like the scraps, and so there's just no customers left. Because if it's a big record label, artists want to work with good producers, and so if he doesn't have a name for himself, people might not want to work with him or just refuse to work with him. That's probably why he's not getting work.
An incredibly talented singer. That doesn't mean people listen to my music. That doesn't mean I make money off of it. That doesn't mean that one day it's just going to happen out of the blue. It may, but I'm not going to go into every interaction I have thinking I'm hot shit when there's no evidence that I'm hot shit.
No, but there's evidence that you're shit, though. I've seen, heard your music. It is not good. But I like your confidence.
Even if I was hot shit, I still wouldn't go into an interaction thinking that way. And I felt like that was just how he operated. Just that he was better.
Women like her hate men with confidence. The guy's confident. You know, like, I know for a fact that a lot of my songs are really good. And I know for a fact that a few of them are really bad. So I don't play those. You know, like, once you do something long enough, you know if something's good or bad. So if you're the type of person where, like, whatever you're doing, and you can say to yourself, "Oh yeah, that's pretty good," but at the same time, you can say to yourself, "Oh, that sucks." You're on the right track.
Better than everyone else, and that everyone else just hadn't figured it out yet. He was very talented. I'm not going to deny him that, but if you don't have like the social proof of success, you can't go around acting like that. I'm sorry, nobody's going to give you an opportunity. Oh, fuck, that was a weight off. And then I found out I was researching somebody that I was dating, and I plugged his phone number in, and then I was backtracking his address. You can't do
What are you doing, lady? Move on. What the fuck? I hired a private PI.
that for me. You're not going to find any current address for me. So if you were wondering, you can't. But this guy that I back
I don't want to stalk a chick that's one Big Mac away from being a plus size model. Get over yourself.
tracked his number, and then I put in my producer Evan. I put in his number because I was just curious, like. And he kept going back home. That's the thing too. He kept driving back down to Sarasota. He also did coke. He also like did the whole vaping thing, and that's just money out your pocket. Like, you're gonna talk about not having money. Why the fuck do you keep feeding addictions? And he kept going back to Sarasota like every month, and I couldn't.
First off, coke is amazing. There's nothing wrong with doing coke. So, here's the thing. There are necessities in life. Like, you have to eat, you have to drink water. Okay. Well, water. You have to have water. Water is way more important than food. You can go without food for a long time, but water you can't. So, he does coke. So what happens on coke? You might not eat for 3 days. But you drink, though. You drink plenty of water. That's why, you don't die. You drink plenty of water. So all the money he would have spent on food went to the coke. And you're like, yeah, well, that's only like 3 days. Well, your appetite really drops. So in the long run, you actually do spend, if not equal or less money than you would have spent on food. So it's not really a money sink. Okay, now I'm not recommending you do it, especially now. Like, now, I would never do coke because Mexico really overproduces fentanyl, and they're trying to get rid of it, but they can't get rid of it, so they use that to cut other drugs. So, like, if you get whatever from Mexico, so let's just say coke from Mexico, there's a really good chance it's going to be cut with fentanyl, or there's a really good chance it just could be fentanyl, but it's just like crunched up. So that's why I wouldn't do coke now. Now, if you know where it's coming from, so my recommendation: don't do coke if it comes from Mexico or any Latin, whatever, South American country.
Figure out why. And then he was telling me this stuff about, I'll try to be vague, one of his parents being abusive, but he kept going back to that parent. He kept asking for money from that parent.
Man, she is putting this guy's business out there just for content, just for a YouTube channel that has 658 subscribers. She is putting this guy's business out there. And here's the thing, people know who this guy is. I mean, at least the people who know her know who this guy is. Why is she putting his business out there like that? Jesus Christ. That's the one thing I like. People would do anything for content. Like, it's, if you're putting yourself on blast, go ahead. But you're dissecting this man's life when, if you took a step back and looked at your life, you're just as bad or maybe even worse. So once again, like, most of her videos are just cope. It's like, oh God.
My father was incredibly abusive. I haven't spoken to that man in 2 years. When I left, I left. I think the last time
Her father didn't want her to be a stripper. Her father told her what to do. Her father gave her life advice that she didn't like. Man, that's really abusive.
I ever got money for him was when I was 19. I think 19. And he promised to help me out with my college, and he didn't. He gave up on that shit like a quarter of the way through. But when I was done, I was done. And
That's not abuse, though. Okay.
with Evan, that was not the case. Evan just kept going back. And you can call, like, in an addictive relationship, whatever, like, you can say what you want to say, but if you're going to go around talking all this shit about your parent being abusive and then you're going to go right back to them. I looked up the house. The house is right on the water. I remember him complaining about.
Dude, she is all about stalking, looking up personal information on people. This is not normal behavior. This is not normal.
About the price of the house one time and
Oh my
saying that it
God.
wasn't that expensive. I can't remember how expensive it was. I want to say it was around
She loves money.
300 or under 300 or I can't remember. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was $500,000. I cannot remember. But even then, the house was beautiful. It was on the water in Sarasota. Like,
What, did you Google map it? Like, did you... I, I bet you Google map this guy's house. Because if you Google map it, you could actually get. I'm sorry, the Google Street View. She'll probably Google Street View the house. This girl is insane.
he had a decent upbringing, and that's why he kept going back to
You
the
don't know
house.
that. You
Because it
don't
was
know anything
fucking
about
nice.
the
That's
guy
why he had no fire lit under his ass. It was like he
except where he lives. Oh God.
wanted to struggle so bad, but then he just would not work to make it work. And this time came in February because this was like a year-long friendship, I guess, and there was never, it was always platonic. I had no attraction to him.
I don't believe a word of that. But okay.
He was a white guy. I don't date white guys. It might sound a little racist from my side. I don't know.
Having a preference isn't racist. It isn't. I can't, that's the one thing with, like, stupid people. It's like, I like Asian girls. I'm attracted to skinny Asian girls. So does that mean I'm racist against Mexican girls? Or does it just mean I have a type? Like, we gotta stop. You see, I think what happened is, the like the blue-haired far left extremist part of our population has made, if you don't like something, it means you're a Nazi. And we have to get rid of that mentality.
I just don't. I don't. I grew up in Tampa. I grew up around a lot of Hispanic people, a lot of black people. I'm Italian. Like my mom's side of the family, that's what I grew up around. Everybody was dark. I just is not my thing. But February came and oh, Reaper's right here. He wants to get petted. February came. He knows I'm
He wants to get petted? I'm I'm pretty sure the past tense of pet is pet. There's pat, there's pet. I'm gonna go pet my dog. Oh, I pat my dog. That's past tense. Petted? Ah, and she's giving you advice and says petted. Just keep that in mind. She gives life advice, but says petted. Okay.
upset. February came and he was talking about how he wanted to move to Las Vegas, that he had all these friends that were living in a producer house. So I was like, okay, you know, all these people from Full Sail, like, that's great. I'm glad they have this producer house. But the producer house hadn't been bought yet. There was an investor and he was trying to move all of them into the producer house. I said his name, I'll cut it out. Evan went off to Las Vegas to check out the producer house. He
Why'd you cut it out? You put his whole life on blast and all of his personal business out there. Fucking moron.
flew up there. And before he did, he was telling me to not get stuck in Atlanta, that there were so many other better places, that there was so much opportunity, that Atlanta wasn't it. And by the time that we stopped talking before he went to Las Vegas, I just had it in my head that I was going to move to Miami, that like Miami would be better. I would make more money in Miami. But that's not true. Sometimes once you get to a big city, the best thing you can do is put your roots down and then spread them out. Like, why would you uproot everything that you've built? And I'm so glad I've stayed here because my social circles have just grown. I got another job opportunity that I can't even talk about.
Yeah, because it's for brazzers. I thought she wanted to be a lawyer. Like, she's all over the place.
Around very wealthy people because of my social circle. And the crazy thing is too, when I was in that room with the wealthy people, there was already people that I recognized from the club. The same club, because there were points too where I feel like he tried to shame me for what I do. And even when I was creating the OnlyFans thing, he was just like so against it, and he would bring up the Jesus stuff a lot. Like, he was just very
How dare he bring up Jesus? See, she's gonna be in a couple of years. She's gonna be one of those people who makes a video about like I sold my soul to the devil and all. Because the road she's going down, it sounds like. Because remember, everyone she meets is through being a stripper. That's a very sexual, perverted. There's nothing godlike about a strip club. You know, if you're a person who believes in this stuff. So basically, like, if I was Satan and I wanted to gather a bunch of people, you know, in a place, I'd be like, hey, man, I'm going to make a strip club. Like, get these degenerate women dancing on the pole. It'll attract rich, wealthy, you know, evil men who are into the occult. You know, it just seems like I'm just picturing it'll be like whatever a couple years from now, you know, she'll have like a come to Jesus moment, and you know, she'll have an like a EP, and then like a song was on the radio, and then after a few months she'll be like, yeah, I, you know, went to this after party and they sacrificed a small child. Like, that's the path she's going down, because this story sounds like other people's stories I've seen on podcasts where they talk about I was trying to be famous, and then trying, and then I met this person. I went to a party, then I met this other person. It's like the same story keeps repeating itself. She's at the beginning of the story though.
delusional. And sometimes when people are delusional, they really bring in the Jesus thing, and he would do that occasionally.
Yeah, see, like, she's already at the anti-Christian part. Okay, and so she's got that going for her, And so because of that, I'm pretty sure Satan's gonna move in with all because of all the people she's surrounded herself with. She's met at a bad place.
But yeah, him telling me to move out of here and do something else and it was going to be greater. I'm so glad I didn't. I literally planned everything. I called the place in Miami I
Bird
was going to
hands.
move to. My complex here has a sister complex down there. I was figuring out the cost for moving. And to be completely frank, like, it was too much. It was too much for me to move by myself, get all of my shit, me being alone as a single woman, bring Reaper, then move down to Miami, which I don't fucking know the area. I don't know the clubs. I'm confident in my abilities to make money. I'm not confident in how quickly I'd be able to have a turnaround in my ability to do that after I got there, after taking like a major blow to everything that I've saved. It cost a fuck ton to move. And then I have Reaper, and it was like, was I gonna leave Reaper up here, drive my car down there, hire a moving company, or just, I didn't want to deal with it. So I held off on it. I was like, okay, I'll just, and at that time too, I had broken up with somebody, and I was just kind of ready to put everything behind me. Fuck. Glad I didn't move. The producer house ended up falling through because the investor, he no longer wanted to invest. I guess he got spooked. Because I'm assuming nobody looked like they were going anywhere fast, so he pulled out of that. And then
Vegas is a empty town now. People aren't flocking to Vegas the way they used to. That's probably why.
come back to Atlanta. I hang out with Evan a few times. The last time Evan, that was the other thing too. Evan, he always wanted my card readings. Let's look at my cards. These are my cards.
Oh my god, that's a lot of mental illness. That is a lot of mental illness. I know that's coming from a guy who has Pokemon cards.
These are more of my cards. This is my spread I did for today. These are my notes.
This girl's retarded.
Doesn't this look like somebody who knows what they're doing?
No, it doesn't. It looks like someone who's insane. It looks like someone who needs a dose of reality. That's what that looks like. She had like 30. She had like 30. What are they called? I don't know what they're called, but she had like 30 decks.
Doesn't it look like somebody who's been doing that same shit for years? Years, since I was like 18.
Stop bragging about being crazy.
But he would ask me for readings, and I remember on one particular night he was trying to like outdo my readings and act like he was more spiritually gifted than me. And in the beginning I was so excited to have a friend who was even interested in this, especially a man. And at the end of it, it was like, why the fuck is this a competition? Like, he would try to read me in different situations I would tell him about, and it was just so stupid.
Or maybe he was just showing you how stupid the whole thing is.
So stupid. He did not have the gift, and he kept acting like he had the gift.
Oh my gosh, so she has the gift. Oh. Oh my god. Don't take advice from her, people. Just don't.
Kept acting like we were equal. It was like all the light he saw in me, he was trying to convince himself that he had it in himself. And because I was not at a place where I claimed everything that I am and where I recognized my own power, I let him. The last time he came over,
You just said you had the gift. And you're really good at it.
Reaper was so upset. Reaper just sat in that chair behind me and stared at him on the couch. And then Reaper, like, well, I was sitting in that chair too, and Reaper, he like basically sat on me. And Reaper just kept jumping on him. Reaper did not want him in. His energy was bad. His eyes looked sickly. Like, you can tell when somebody's spiritually just unwell just by looking at their eyes. And I think it was either at that point or shortly after that point, he started sleeping at the studio. Oh, I forgot about that. He got an offer to move in with a guy who believed in his talent, and then he was sharing like a one bedroom apartment with this guy, and the entitlement that Evan had was just so crazy, so crazy. I remember he got upset about not, he wanted a key to the guy's apartment. Instead of the guy letting him in every night, he wanted his own separate key, and he wasn't paying rent, he wasn't doing anything. There was just this guy who took a chance on him, felt bad because, oh, that was it too. He was also, I think he was living in his car, and then he was sleeping at the studio. I know this sounds crazy because he had such like a good home, but then he was choosing to live like,
Man, like, there is no privacy if you're this girl's friend. That is by far the biggest lesson you can learn from her videos is do not be her friend. Do not tell your personal business to this woman because she will put it all out on the internet. Because I don't think Evan wants people to know any of this. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure.
like that. I feel like he almost wanted to struggle to make it seem like he deserved all of the fame and success that he was after, but he,
Did he say that? No. Here's the thing. He's a guy. Guys need less. A guy can have whatever. It just doesn't matter to you. But he can have a crappy place to live as long as there's a TV and maybe a chair. He's fine. You know, and so sleeping in a car to a guy, I mean, it's like whatever. You know, like you can't compare your life and what makes you comfortable to other people because first of all, you aren't normal. You have like 30 tarot decks. You petted your dog. There's so many things that are just different about you. So
he was not willing to work for it. That is what I'm trying to stress. Like, I told him so many times to get a job. Like, he was not willing to work and plan for it. And I hate that. I remember he said something about me staying in Atlanta. He said, oh, like, if you have a dog and an apartment and that's all you need to be happy, then yeah, Atlanta's a good place. Like, specifically talking about me. Specifically, I remember him too judging me for having Reaper and a dog of this size in my apartment and not having a house, when it's like, you don't even have a place to fucking stand in. I just feel like I gave him so much of my energy just to be judged by him. But yeah.
doesn't everyone judge? You're judging him. I mean, that's what people do. We live in a judgmental. Humans are judgmental. There's there's a lot to judge. Trust me, there's a lot to judge.
Yeah, he ended up losing out on the apartment he was staying at because he was a dick to the guy, so I guess that bridge got burned. And I hadn't heard from him in 4 months. 4 months until the Lionsgate portal last week because he wanted me to do a card reading for him. And I asked him like what had happened, and he told me that the studio owner found out around the 4th of July that he was sleeping on the couch. He said the studio owner kicked him out of there, and he said he had to go back home because he didn't have any place to stay. And he said the studio owner was talking about getting another building with a shower in it. I think that was a lie. I went over to the studio's page. The same studio that Evan worked at, he was replaced by somebody else a month prior. And that guy had also come up from Florida. That guy finished Full Sail. That guy had so many credits, just like in his Instagram. He looked so
Bird
professional.
hands.
And I think Evan was lying about the seriousness, at least, of the studio owner going and making a building and shower just for him. It was like Evan just got by on how talented he felt like he was, and for all the talent he had, the work ethic did not match it. And I think another thing that bothered me too, he finally came to peace with staying in Atlanta, And he finally told me, oh, this is the place to make everything happen. Like after the whole like Las Vegas charade, after telling me to go to Miami. And he came to peace with this being the place. And he says something about, oh, like if a white boy can make it in Atlanta, then he can make it anywhere.
I wonder if he really said that. That's funny. And I wonder if he was being sarcastic. I wonder. I don't know, like being a music producer, when it comes to entertainment, the only thing that matters is the talent. It doesn't matter what you look like. If you're a stripper or it's different. It matters, but if you're a producer, producers come in. Okay, like think of K-pop. Some of the most famous or highest paid K-pop producers aren't aren't Korean. There's just every other race. So like there's black there's black K-pop producers, like American black K-pop producers, or I've seen white female K-pop producers. I've seen Brazilian K-pop producers. I've seen Swedish, whatever. Literally every, because it's all about money. So if you're a good producer, the Korean music company isn't gonna go, oh well, you're American, you're whatever, Jewish American. I don't want to work with you. Because they don't care what your race is or your this is. It's just, do you produce? Are you a good music producer? Are you gonna make money? That's all that matters. So maybe he was being sarcastic, but if he really thinks that if a white person can make it in Atlanta, you can make it anywhere. That is a stupid mindset, but whatever.
I don't even want to how should I expand on that?
Don't.
How should I expand on you being a white boy coming into a black space and being so special, and that if you can make it here, then you're automatically successful anywhere? It's just like a stupid fucking thing to say. It's like, oh, if I as a white woman move to Atlanta and become all of a sudden successful, I can make it anywhere because it's so hard being in a black space. Sometimes it is. I'm not gonna lie. There is a lot of reverse racism, but it's just
There's no such thing as reverse racism. There's just racism. She says that I think sometimes she's the only white dancer at these stripper clubs. That's a bonus, actually. I mean, I'm sure she makes a lot of money at these strip clubs. And also, we're acting like white people don't live in Atlanta. A lot of a lot of white people live in Atlanta. I don't know, like I I just don't understand the mentality. But okay.
just such a fucking tone deaf thing to say. And he always had this thing with me about being white, because coming from Florida, there's a lot of white people, but we're all like a little bit ratchet. It's just, it's in us, it's in our personality. So you're used to being around it, but you're not used to being around just only black people. Like we're used to being around all the Latinos, whoever knows. And then the blacks being Hispanic, the Hispanics being white. Like everybody's mixed in, everybody's something else. But yeah, that he would always talk about us being white as it, and it was nice having a little solidarity, because I am usually a minority in the places that I go, but it is a good thing because it makes me stand out. People remember my face. It's hard to break into a.
Her being white is one of the biggest advantages she has, being in Atlanta and the industry she's in. So, but there's nothing wrong with being white. I don't know, like the race shouldn't even be an issue. This is more small-minded stuff.
City and place when you are the the different one, but I would argue that there's more reward doing it. And to even be complaining about being a white man, it's like me complaining about being a white woman. Like,
But you have complained about being a white woman before on your videos. I should know. I've reacted to all of them. But okay.
there are hard things that comes with it. I think, as I was explaining with the city, if we're talking about a mass amount of success, I think when you're down at the bottom, it's very hard to break into rooms. I think it's easy to get into the room, but it's harder to stay in there. And you're obviously more marketable than somebody of a different ethnicity.
Okay, just look at the porn industry. Most of the, let's say, more successful porn stars are white. White mixed in with a little bit of Spanish, a couple of Asian, and then black. So this, and porn is purchased or consumed by normal, straight men, right? So I can't name a porn star right now. Lana Rhoades, because yeah, she's one of these porn stars that regrets everything, and she does podcasts going, they made me do things. No, you volunteered. But anyway, Lana Rhoades, she's white. Okay, so do you think she was the biggest porn star in the world at one time because only white people liked her, or because everybody liked her? Yeah, everybody liked her. She was top notch. Okay, so these strip clubs in Atlanta, I'm sure that when she goes in there, it's a big advantage just because these same people who are going to a strip club, I'm sure these people watch porn all the time, okay? And they probably like Lana Rhoades because, and it's not because she's white, it's just she just looks good. And so, you know, white is associated with, at least in the sex industry, with attractiveness. So you're gonna have that already, that stereotype of being white in a black strip club of like, oh, like that's the good looking one. That's just a stereotype. Okay, there's probably better looking black chicks than her. I'm just saying. So her acting like it's a struggle, that's just her looking for a struggle. Because she would complain about not being able to get a job at a place. She's like, well, I'm white, but it's probably because you're not a good dancer. And so that's her one downfall. Being white, if she's not a good dancer, she's gonna get laughed off the stage, and that's why it's quote unquote harder for her to get work at these strip clubs. Because if you've seen her dance, she's not good. I know. I don't think she's a good singer. I don't think she's a good dancer. Okay? Because if she was a good dancer, she'd get hired just after the first tryout instead of having to go to a place 6 times. So her struggle is she's just a bad dancer.
And once you get to a place where you do have a team, then everything works out more easily for you because you are a lighter color. But I would argue that starting out, you don't get the same privilege. If anything,
Sure.
I feel like people resent you more because they know how the world will eventually treat you, how society would put
Yeah.
you on that pedestal once
Yeah.
you had enough eyes on you. That's how I feel.
Sure. Okay.
That's what I've seen.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
But being white with no team, it doesn't get you further. It does not.
Okay,
and you
petted.
have to work just as hard. And I feel like that was just the point that he was missing. I know this is so long, but it's so important.
You said
and I hope
petted.
you're
I can't
engaged
take
with
you
this
seriously.
because I put this on my private story on Instagram, and people were telling me to put it on TikTok, and I was like, "Fuck, I cannot put this man on blast." But at the same time,
You just did put him on blast for this is it's been going on. So we're on the 21-minute mark. You've been putting him on blast for 21 minutes. Just because you changed his name doesn't mean people don't know who he is. I mean, people in your circle anyway.
I want to. I genuinely want to, because you were in my apartment at one point. You were asking me for all of this advice. You were around everything that I built. I tell you how I built it. You didn't follow that. And now you're
Dude, is she acting like she built an empire here? Come on. Calm down.
back at home with your parents, with no job, with no money. He said he couldn't even get back to Atlanta because he didn't have the money to drive back up. That's probably what, 100, 200 in gas money? I don't know. It only pays me, I only have to pay like $30 to fill up my tank. I have a very, what is
You know, that's a lot of money to some people. I mean, sorry, but he can't dance on some guy's lap and make $100. You can. It's just different if you're a guy. So
is it economical, gas economically, whatever, car? It would probably only cost me 100 to go down to Sarasota. Excuse me. Oh, and that was the other thing too. When he texted me about, he wanted a reading over FaceTime. Like, that's how badly he wanted to hear my advice. And then one of his last texts was, I never answered him, but one of his last texts was how he was thinking about moving to Nashville. And that just like, I'm fucking done. I don't want to hear about how hard the world is for a white man who doesn't want to work. I don't want to fucking hear it.
well, that's the thing. Like, it doesn't matter about his race. It's just women have safety nets. Men don't. And like, like, I don't want to hear it. Well, because no one wants to hear it.
Yeah. So that is the story of Evan.
That's not the story of Evan. That sounds like you just bitching because Evan pissed you off. And you probably feel bad about some of your life decisions and what's going on. So you're doing this to doing what women do best, being vindictive and talking shit behind someone's back. I don't understand putting all this out there.
Who was committed to fail, honestly, because to not have it together after a year, and he was the same age as me. He was 24, and I don't really care if I sound cold. Like, these are just hard facts.
Sure.
Hard facts.
Sure, okay.
Taking my feelings out of it, I had somebody who used my light, my knowledge.
She keeps saying light. When you're a stripper, when you're in the sex industry, and you believe in manifestation and tarot cards, there's nothing godly about that. Everything she does leans to the satanic part of, whatever I don't know what to call it. If there's a spectrum of God and Satan, light and dark, she's on the Satan side, the dark side, the evil side. I don't see how a stripper is a beacon of light and hope. I just don't. Because every night you're basically just in a lust filled room with a bunch of guys who have money that you will do anything for. That's gotta hurt your soul. That's gotta make you feel crappy. That's why you're taking it out on Evan right now.
Knowledge, my success, judged me for it, was in my own home, and still returned, even after I gave him all the information he needed, returned a year after he failed, trying to get that same information. That's the
He sounds like Jesus coming back on the third day.
story of Evan. I hope this was entertaining for you. I didn't know what
It was
talk
very
about.
entertaining.
I was like, I either talk about this or I talk about...
It was very entertaining.
I've been dealing with a bunch of people that just like complain about the opportunities they're given.
Sure.
But it's like, if you work in entertainment, it's gonna suck. You're gonna be manipulated. You're gonna be sexually harassed. Like, you're not gonna
You're gonna be sexually harassed if you're a stripper, and everyone you've met has been from that, or is because of that reason. So that's your fault.
To be paid what you think you deserve. And I'm just kind of tired of hearing people complain about it. Like, you should have expected this. You know better. Yeah. I'll probably do that next week.
Can't stand her. Anyway, well, I hope you've learned anything from this. The only thing I've learned, that she uses the word petted. I think this is the second. Didn't she say petted last video? I swear she did. Anyway, you guys have a good one. I'll talk to you later. Peace out.